Okay, so what we're going to do now is take a look at how to adjust the bone rolls for the bones on the upper arm and the bones for the forearm and the bone for the hand. We're going to take a look at the bones for the fingers in the next lesson. So first go under File, do Save As, and save this as a Rigging Lesson 02 B.blend. Now let me just point out a few things before we get into this. Go ahead and click this bone, zoom in, and then do Shift middle mouse button. Go ahead and go to this data tab over here and click on a stick. Now we already know that when it comes to bones, it's simply just an edge with two vertices. And if we do the middle mouse button to rotate this, because we have the axis enabled, we can see where the Z and the X axis is pointing. Now, if you switch to edit mode over here and click on this bone roll, we can adjust the bone roll, right? Now, if we switch to octahedral, we can actually see some additional information about this concept of the bone roll that will help us to align these bones. So what I want you to do is press the 1 key to go to the front view, okay? Now don't worry about what this bone roll is. Here, just adjust it so it's kind of like this right now, okay? Now, you'll notice that where this Z-axis is pointing, if you do the middle mouse button, it also matches the plane on this bone, okay? This is only in the octahedral display concept. If you look at the x-axis, this x-axis matches this plane over here, okay? Now, if you press the 1 key and actually switch to the grease pencil, and over here, I'm just going to do view and make sure this is on scene, this is on continuous draw, and here we're going to click on line. Go ahead and click this. Now what I want you to do is click over here and draw a line that matches this line over here and actually go all the way out. Notice that where this line is pointing, this edge over here, also matches where this Z is pointing, okay? Now press the escape key, go over here and X this out. Now, if we press the 3 key to go to the right view and just zoom in, you'll also notice that we can use that same concept, that if we click on line and click over here and match this line that's being displayed and make it go all the way up, if we click over here and match it on the Z, it also aligns, right? So you can look at or use this concept of the shape to know where the Z and the X-axis is pointing. Notice that in order to match where the Z-axis is pointing on the tail, we have to look at the plane that belongs to the X-axis. So in the same way, if we click over here and do this for the X-axis, we can look at the plane for the Z-axis and just look at this line and do the same thing. You'll see that they both match, okay? Now press the escape key and go ahead and X this out. So what exactly does this mean for us? What this means is that if we click over here, now what we're going to do is point the Z-axis to the left as an example. Go ahead and click this. Now you'll notice that we're rotating the Z-axis, okay? So the question is that when we do the Z-axis like this, we can stare at two different locations. We can simply try to look at this line for the Z-axis and get it horizontal over here, or we can stare over here. Now, to ensure that this bone is aligned correctly, we can also just press the 1 key to go to the front view. Now you'll notice that over here, we're seeing the other plane on the other side, right? So meaning that we can click over here and fine tune it so it aligns correctly. But notice that over here, if I do shift middle mouse button pan, look at where the Z-axis is. See, you can see that how it matches the plane. So we can look at the plane and we can also stare at the Z-axis so it points exactly like this. So this is how you can use this concept to align your bones. right? So this means that you can, well, you would have to look at it from the front view or from the right view to get the alignment correctly in place. Okay, so that's what I want to talk to you about first. Now notice that when we align this bone, the question is that how do we tell these bones to match the alignment of this bone? It's actually very easy. As long as you've set up the bone roll over here, all you have to do is click on this bone. Now do not click on the hand. Click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on this one, and then finally click on this one, which is the bone that we want to use, meaning that it's the active bone. Now, when you do Control N, you'll get this option, active bone. When you click it, you'll notice that all the bones will now align correctly. Now, if you click on this bone, notice what the bone roll is. In my case, it's just saying 115.99. Yours might be a bit different. It doesn't actually matter as long as the z-axis is pointing towards the left, right? And over here, if we click it, you'll notice that it's exactly the same bone roll. Now, if you click over here, of course the bone roll is going to be different. It would have to be, right? Why is this? Because if you press the 7 key, you'll notice that when we had originally placed these bones, if we go back to the grease pencil, click over here on line, this bone originally was from here to here, and we had subdivided it. And this bone is from here to here, right? They're positioned differently. That's why the bone roll is a bit different. Press the escape key to get out of it. So that's that concept. Now, of course, the reason we're doing this, let me actually remove the grease pencil, is because if we go to pose mode and click on this bone, press the R key, press the X key 2 times, we want this forearm bone to move along the x-axis in this way. And notice where the z-axis is pointing. This is the major movement and this is the minor movement. So this is why we have to do it for all these 4 bones, basically treating it like the leg bone. Okay, now the other thing that I want to show you over here, if we go to edit mode and click over here, let's just take a look at this bone roll quick. Notice that when you click on this bone roll, click your mouse and drag your mouse all the way to the right, it stops at 360. Now if we click again, go to the other direction, it will stop at 360, right? And here I can just point it towards the Z again, okay? Now it's a different number, negative 247. Now, if you do Control R, you have to move your mouse kind of like over here, Control R. You'll notice that we can just keep twirling this around as much as we want and now stop this like this. Notice how big this number is. So to fix this number, all you have to do is only have this bone selected, do Control N, and now click on active bone. It will automatically fix this number for you, okay? So just be aware of this. Now the other thing that you should know is that if you click on all these bones over here and do Control R, you can adjust the bone roll for all the bones at the same time. But if you click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on these bones over here, and coming over here, you can only adjust this bone like this. So meaning that if we now align it like this, all we have to do is Control N and then do active bone and all of them will adjust. So we're going to reload this file. Okay, so this is where we were. So what we want to do is, of course, point the z-axis towards the left, right? It's all based on this bone over here. Because if you press the R key, press the X key 2 times, right now this is not aligned correctly. So here, all we have to do is click over here, switch to edit mode, click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on this one, and this one. And here, press the 3 key, zoom in, and just concentrate on this bone, right? Now, what we want to do is make sure that the Z points towards the left. So we can just do Control R, which will rotate all the bones, right click to cancel, or you have the option to simply just click over here and rotate only this bone. Again, you're staring at the black Z-axis and the line over here. Remember, you can press the 1 key to make sure that you get it right. So over here, we're going to just adjust it so it looks like this. Now, don't get caught up in this number. right? Even if your number is off like this or a little bit like this, it's okay. It's an organic model, but I like to align it like this. Now, since all of these are aligned, right, we can just do Control N and then do active. Okay, and now you'll notice that this is aligned correctly. Now over here, you'll notice that it's a bit off, and that's okay. Why is this okay? See how over here it's a bit off? It's because I can see that the z-axis is aligned correctly. Anyway, the point here is that now when you go to pose mode and check this over here, press the R key, press the X key 2 times. This is the major and this is the minor. Now over here, when we press the R key, press the X key 2 times, this is the major and this is the minor. Now notice that when we want to move the arm down, the X is now representing the major movement. So if we press the R key, press the Z key 2 times, X is major, and over here, this is minor. Okay, of course, at any time we can press the R key 2 times and move this arm around in any way that you want. The point here is that the dominant rotation axis for all these bones on their head is always going to be the x-axis. Okay, now let's take a look at this bone over here. Now notice that if we press the R key, press the X key 2 times, this actually is correct, right? It's rotating around the x-axis. See, if we press the 1 key over here, if we press the R key, press the X key 2 times, it's rotating around the x-axis. Now you'll notice that the z-axis is pointing up. So if you press the R key over here, because the bone is aligned, we know that we're going to be, of course, rotating close to the x-axis on the head of this bone. Notice that this should be the major movement and this should be the minor. So here, what we want to do is point the z-axis down. Okay, so let's just press the 3 key to go to the right view and press the period key on the numpad. Now over here, there are too many bones in the way. So here we can just do Shift H and it's going to hide all the bones in pose mode. And now when you switch to edit mode, you can do the same thing. Having this bone selected, do Shift H. Now we can just simply click on this bone, and what we want to do is point the z-axis down. It's easy. Just click over here and now rotate it down like this, right? Again, you're going to do it this way over here first, then press the 1 key and just click over here until you are satisfied with the alignment. Okay, now the z-axis is pointing down. Okay, so here I'm just going to go to pose mode and do a quick check, press the R key, press the X key 2 times. This is major and this is minor. Now to bring all the other bones back, we can just do Alt H in pose mode, switch to edit mode, do Alt H, and all the bones will come back. So everything over here has been adjusted. So let's go ahead and just focus in like this, and we're going to save this file. Okay. Now, in the next lesson, what we're going to do is take a look at how to adjust the bone rolls for all these bones on the head. So I'll see you. Thank you.